Hello everyone, I all hope in a very, very wonderful, great day and a very much of a great, blessed morning indeed, guys. As you can see, guys, today the sky is completely skyly blue and all of that, but the weather might actually change sooner as well. Despite that, guys, the gardening people are quietly here today, so you might actually hear more noise, more loud noises from the actual background, and actually sorry for that. Despite that, guys, I'm literally completely grateful for all of you from watching my videos from all sizes. Literally totally completely grateful from all of you guys. Literally love you all so much. Stay blessed and stay happy. From short long videos, YouTube and TikTok, and from those of you who are also subscribing and liking, I truly appreciate all of you. It truly means a lot to me, as in literally means a lot to me that you guys are literally staying with me, that you guys are literally still staying with me through this long journey that I've decided to also take in order to make sure that my dreams successfully bear fruit as well. It means completely, utterly a lot to me, truly a lot to me. I am so superly grateful for you guys' support and for you guys watching and viewing and subscribing to my channel. TikTok, shorts, long videos, and from YouTube, and those of you also subscribing. It truly, completely means a lot to me. May God bless you and may God protect you and may God stay with you in everything else that you guys are doing as well. Have a blessed week and a great week as well. On today's episode, we're to speak about the light druids who are very powerful light magic users who lived in the sacred universe and who lived in the sacred universe and in the sacred world and in the sacred world and in the sacred universe and in the known universe throughout the magical worlds, and throughout the rest of the sacred magic universe as well. They've lived in the sacred magic universe. They lived in the sacred magic universe and they lived in the sacred magic universe and in the sacred world for many centuries, especially during the ancient times as well. They know all about the ancient sinister threats and all about the great sinister forces of evil as well as the most powerful ancient forces of evil that have lived and rose and risen, and that have lived and quietly that have also quietly have lived and ascended to power as well during the primordial times, during the primordial times before they actually rose to becoming the ancient forces of evil or becoming the greater supervillains as they are quietly revered and known today. The light druids are a very peaceful magical race of very skillful magical beings with great power of great light magic powers and ability given by them and granted by them with the power in order to give life to dead worlds and to dead planets as well. The light druids are very exceptionally skilled with a great power of light magic, and with the great power of restoring life to dead worlds and to dead planets as well in the process. Despite that, the light druids are very well committed to protecting the sacred universe, and the sacred world and the sacred magic universe from all forces of evil, and from all sinister threats of evil as well. That means that all the other sinister threats, that means from all sinister threats, from all sinister threats, and from all sinister threats and all powerful ancient forces of evil as well, which makes the light druids very well committed to their job, very well committed to their purpose, and they are very well knowledgeable magical creatures, who know everything about magic, who know everything else about light magic and dark magic and even positive and negative magic as well, which they've decided to aid the Phoenician hunters on their respective mission, and on their respective goal as well. The light druids are a very peaceful, loving race of powerful great light magic users, and very well committed to their mission and to their purpose in restoring life and purpose and harmony to the sacred magic universe and to the known worlds as well. So on today's episode is about that, guys. So let's exactly begin. The light druids have lived during the ancient times. The light druids have actually lived during the actual ancient times of the sacred worlds wars and conflicts during the during the primordial times, where they able to begin to know everything about every sinister threat, and actual force of evil, where they practice their light magical powers and their abilities during at that time. Some of them actually come from light magicals. Some of them actually come from the magical schools of the sacred magic universe, while the others of them come from the sacred magic dimension, where they perfected their studies, on light magic, which is well known as positive magic, in order to channel their power for the greater good, not for the greater evil. They were able to discover and learn more about the dark magic users, known as the dark druids, the dark witches, and the dark faithful, and also about the ancient powerful forces of evil, such as the original Lord of Magic and the Fallen and the King of Darkness, as well as the Dark Witches and the Dark Sisters and the Space Sisters and the Nature Witches and the Dark Wizards as well. The Light Druids were very well committed to their studies, as they were able to learn more about the sinister ancient forces of evil, as well as the ancient powerful secret society groups of supervillains, such as the Order of the Five and the Founders as well, which are very, very dangerous ancient sinister organizations of super criminals, as well as Sinister Magic, the Galactic, and the Order of the Six, and Sacred Five, and the Unholy Alliance, and the Court of Nature as well. The Light Druids exactly began studying all they can about light magic, its properties and its powers and its given abilities, in order to further their powers, in order to upgrade their powers and their abilities in a long-term course, in the actual long-term course of their powers, so they can fight the force of evil in the actual process, during which in the actual chaotic times of the chaos that the force of evil have quietly brought throughout the sacred magic universe, the Light Druids were actually forced in order to help the Phoenician hunters fight the war against the dark forces of evil, known as the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches and the Dark Faithful, which were trying to take over and conquer the sacred magic universe in the actual process. Despite that, the Light Druids exactly persisted and still helped the Phoenician hunters win the battle against the forces of evil, during which in those times the Light Druids discovered that the forces of evil were quietly acting under the orders of sinister shadowy forces that were quietly exactly concealing their involvement and also their presence throughout the rest of sacred history, in order to make sure that sacred history exactly goes according to plan, and it was quietly heavily recorded the way it was supposed to be, without any further disturbance from any obstacle that there actually poses a global threat to their future plans and goals as well. Despite that, the Light Druids were very quietly heavily determined in order to solve this huge, dark, sinister conspiracy that was quietly being orchestrated by sinister supernatural forces that were quietly working from behind the scenes and also from the shadows of the sacred world, which is what they decided in order to do to further the investigation in order to help the Phoenician hunters as well. Despite this, the others of them returned to the other pocket light dimensions, where they can easily practice their light magic powers and their abilities, while the others of them remained in the sacred magic universe in order to help the Phoenician hunters fight up against the greatest and most powerful threats in the process, while the others of them exactly remained in the sacred world in order to help maintain peace, balance, and harmony and love in the actual process as well. Despite this, the Light Druids were very quietly a peaceful race and a very quietly a loving race, as they use their light magic and powers and their abilities in order to restoring life to dead worlds and to dead planets in the process, in order to give it back life and to everything else. They combined their light magical powers and their abilities in order to synchronize their energies, and their light magical powers and their abilities in order to synchronize their energies and life magic power and their abilities to converge their powers and their abilities in one, in order to restoring life to dead worlds and to many, many planets, which they did in doing so. And they were quietly praised for their great devotion and for their hard work, which in actual effect they were quietly able to frequently clash with the dark magic users of their own people, such as the dark warlocks and the dark wizards and the dark druids and the dark witches and the dark faithful, which they began frequently clashing with them during the following courses of the sacred magical wars that rained down in the sacred magic universe, and especially within the sacred universe itself and within the sacred world as well, and throughout the known magical worlds as well. Despite this, the light druids exactly realizes that they were up against the most powerful, dangerous, and most deadliest evil magical obstacles that will not exactly stop until the entire sacred magic universe was heavily conquered and was put under the sole control of the dark and powerful evil masters, in order to make sure that they reign and rule supreme throughout the entire sacred magic universe as well, in the actual process of their goals and of their mission and of their sole devotion to the original Lord of Magic and to the other sinister threats of evil as well. Despite this, the light druids discovered that during the ancient times that there were more powerful ancient forces of evil that were highly completely operating within the shadows, and they discovered, in order to investigate this sinister conspiracy and this sinister shadowy collaboration, that the other sinister forces of evil were able to exactly remain in secret communication with the other sinister threats during that present time of the ancient times as well. On the actual 26th of March, the light druids actually reconvene on a very, very beautiful light magical temple that was quietly within a pocket dimension of the sacred magic universe, where they all exactly began to meet and discuss the wars and the battle that were completely raining down, where the leader of the light druids exactly told his people that they must make a decision that could decide the fate of the sacred world's future and the fate of the entire magical creatures and the rest of their kind and the rest of their kind civilization's future, which will highly depend on the forces of good and evil, as they all exactly began to agree on that point as well. On the actual 15th of April, the light druids exactly met up on a dead magical planet world, which was quietly on the far fringes of the known universe, where they all used their power and their abilities where they all used their powers and their magical abilities to secretly focus and concentrate their magical powers, where they secretly focused and concentrated their magical powers and their abilities at the exact same time, where they were able to restore life and great unity 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 and great unification throughout the entire magical alien world and throughout the entire magical alien world and throughout the rest of the civilization, which they were able to do. Due to this, the entire civilization was able to be restored back to its natural habitants, and back to its actual natural habitants, and the magical creatures and the aliens were very quietly happy that the light druids and the magical creatures and the magical beings were able to restore life to the other magical worlds, to the other alien magical worlds and civilization, and the light druids were very much completely happy that they were able to devote their powers and their abilities for the greater good rather than not for the greater evil as well. On the actual 25th of May, the light druids exactly met up with the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters. They met up with the representative of the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunter elders on the central headquarters of the base of operation, which was the Four Nation Hunter homeland, known as the Four Nation Hunter city, where they all exactly met up with them and actually convened with them within the city chambers and exactly spoke about the sacred magical dark wars that continue to reign on, and with the power vacuum that has completely consumed the Shadow Empire in the actual process as well. Despite this, the Four Nation Hunter representative exactly believed the light magic users in their words in helping the Four Nation Hunters restore peace and harmony and love throughout the entire sacred cosmos, which is what exactly they shared with their common interests and with their common goals as well. Regardless of this, the light druids exactly spoke from the bottom of their hearts and from their true intentions that all they're willing to do is restore life to dead planets and to dead worlds, and it's also to try to restore unification and relations between the supernatural and to the alien and to the superhumans and to the Formation Hunters communities of the sacred world and of the supernatural world as well in the process, to making sure that there's balance and harmony and love and coexistence between all races as well in the actual process. Despite this, the Formation Hunter representative exactly believed the light magic users as they actually decided to help each other with their common interests and their common goals as well, to sharing each other's resources and everything else, as they all became to believe the light as they all became to believe the light druids words, and also their devotion to their mission, and also to their goals, and also to their devotion to their mission, and also to their goals as well. On the actual 20th of June, the Universal Heroes were quietly invited to meet up with the light druids on the ancient jungle island foresters that are quietly scattered throughout the sacred worlds, that are quietly scattered throughout the sacred worlds, oceans and vast oceans, that are quietly scattered throughout the sacred worlds, vast oceans and magical oceans, where they were able to meet up with the light magic users known as the light druids, where the light druids exactly showed the new universal man and the new universal heroes that this has all happened before, that there was a powerful prophecy that was easily bestowed upon the origins, stated to them that the origins were also known as the saviors of the sacred world and of the known universe as well. In the actual process, state to them that they actually were meant to save the sacred universe and the known universe in the actual process. The light druids actually showed the universal heroes ancient paintings, ancient, powerful, beautiful light paintings and markings of the previous origin and of the previous child of destiny and of the other light druid and of the other light druid and a powerful light witch or a powerful light sister or a powerful, formidable light lord of a powerful light lord of magic, who became the savior as well during the very previous ancient times. The universal heroes and universal men were very quietly all shocked and literally quietly shocked and literally beneath the entire skepticism, as they were able to see the ancient markings and paintings of their own, as Grayson was able to see the paintings of his own people, realizing that these people were actually the great saviors and the revered saviors of the entire sacred universe and of the known universe as well, and that the ancient prophecies that were quietly spoken back during the ancient times were quietly specifically real, and they were meant to actually save the entire sacred universe. Despite this, the light druids explained to the universal heroes and to the universal men that these paintings exactly actually did happen, and that they were actually nothing but a prophecy that actually told the truth, and that they were powerful ancient magical animals and creatures and beasts that easily helped the origins amplify their power and their unique abilities in the process, even helping the ones who became evil and who became very, very sinisterly evil and very, very dark and very, very powerful. Universal men began to understand that these ancient creatures, these ancient magical creatures and powerful beasts, were the reason that they were quietly kept hidden, and also were the reason they were actually quietly kept hidden, and also to be protected from these from these ancient, powerful, mystic forces of evil as well in the actual process. Despite this, the light druids exactly explained to the universal heroes and to the new universal man, who is also known as the prophesied child, that these ancient magical creatures and beings were given the magical power and the infinite ability to literally adapt and help powerful dark magical beings, ancient magical creatures, or other powerful light magical users such as origins or such as the darker beings who are able to use their infinite magical power to highly amplify their dark powers and their abilities in the actual process, and that the origins were able to protect them and also to literally conceal them away from being hunted down and from being wanted by the most powerful ancient dark magical creatures or sinister evil beings or sinister evil supervillains as well. The new universal men understood what the light druids were saying about the ancient paintings that are quietly scattered into the ancient caves, of the sacred islands, of the jungle, which are quietly hidden for many centuries and for many years, and that these prophecies were all and that these prophecies and all of sacred history was actually quietly repeating itself again, over again and over again, and it was quietly happening over again and again, and that the light druids were very quietly eager to help the new universal man and the members of the universal heroes and better understand the sacred history that exactly happened centuries ago, which is quietly happening again as well. On the actual 25th of July, Universal Man exactly met up with the light druids within the light druids home world and home planet, which was a beautiful light magical world that was quietly within the fringes of the sacred magic universe, where the light druids actually took Universal Man beneath the entire planet's kingdom, beneath the entire planet's kingdom underground, where there are secret ancient new paintings and new markings of what exactly happened throughout the ancient times, what exactly happened on the previous ancient times and within the previous century. And this time, Universal Man was able to get a better understanding that there are many children of the prophecies were mentioned, such as a child of destiny, such as the origin of destiny, and such as the druid of destiny, and such as the power of destiny itself, and such as the fated child of destiny, and such as the new lord of magic of destiny, and such as the power, such as the great sacred children of destiny, and the light sister of destiny, and also the space sister of destiny, and as well as the faithful of destiny as well, which explains everything that has completely happened within a past that is quietly reflecting on the sacred world's futures, and on the sacred world's futures and conflicts in the present time as well. The light druids exactly told Universal Man that they quietly believed in the ancient powerful savior who would exactly return to restore balance and harmony towards the sacred world's conflicts and wars, and towards the sacred world's conflicts and wars and chaos that were quietly brought down by the ancient forces of evil. They also came to believe that the ancient or previous original Lord of Magic was the savior who was meant to be the one to save them from the monsters of the dark dimension, but apparently it didn't exactly work out the way they actually wanted it to work out when Royal exactly sacrificed his humanity and his compassion and his humility to infusing himself with the monsters, with the sentient dark entities, and with the powerful ancient dark substance known as shadow energy, to becoming purely utterly evil and detached from anything else that actually made him the powerful, and that actually made him the revered original legendary Lord of Magic in power and also in darkness as well. Despite this, Grayson exactly became to believe what the light druids were actually telling him, and that he wanted the light druids to actually educate him more on what happened during the ancient times and what happened within the middle ancient centuries, and within what exactly took place within the before sacred history was ever recorded or ever made. The light druids believe that they can exactly educate Grayson, and also to helping him find a better understanding to end the sacred wars and the conflicts in a better way before it takes a dark turn from a very before it takes a dark dramatic turn from a very far worse turn as well. On the actual 29th of August, the light druids actually convene on a very powerful dark crystal temple, which was quietly protected by an invisible barrier of dark magic within the sacred magic universe, within the sacred magic universe's mountains. But the dark crystal temple was quietly closed, literally close to the sacred magic colleges of witches, warlocks, druids, fairies, hunters, and Phoenician hunters and elves, and all of that. It was very quietly close by to the other magic colleges, but hidden and but protected, but also invisible to the naked eye. The light druids exactly decided, in order to remove the dark energy and put in positive energy, and rather to put in actual negative energy into the dark crystal temple in order to restore it back to its former glory, where the light druids exactly sat within the temple, within the center of the temple, and they began to actually meditate their power and their ability, where they summoned the light guardian. With their power, they were able to restore the dark crystal temple back to its former glory, using its power for the greater good rather than for the greater evil as well. On the actual 25th of September, the light druids exactly met up with the universal magic heroes and universal magical on the same location, where they exactly educated universal magical and the universal magic heroes on what exactly happened to the powerful evil, what exactly happened to the powerful ancient light witches known as the Light Sisters, who are the most ancient witches and very much completely one of the good guys, who actually became one of the first defectors above the Dark Sisters, who are rumored to be one of the ancient dark evil witches of all time as well. Despite this, the Light Druids exactly explained to Universal Magical and to the Universal Magic Heroes that these powerful ancient light witches, who are one of the good guys, are still able to exist, and that Cassandra Light is not the first of her people to become one of the first light witches or the Light Sister. Universal Magical became to believe the Light Druid's words as she was able to see the evidence for herself, and she wanted to know more about what exactly happened in the actual ancient history about the dark magical wars that rained down during the following centuries. To do that, the Light Druids decided to educate the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magical by explaining everything that happened during the dark days of the sacred magic universe, of the sacred magic universe, and of the sacred world's darkest days and all of its primordial days as well. On the actual 27th of October, the Light Druids exactly met up with the Universal Heroes on the central headquarters of their bases of operation, which was the asteroid base, where they told them about a very powerful cosmic alignment known as the ancient cosmic alignment, which will always take place during after 15,000 years, which will give enough forbidden power and dark forbidden power, or good forbidden magic power and abilities to the most strongest ancient powerful beings, or greater godlike beings, or sinister godlike beings that had infinite power and greater forbidden magic powers of their own. Universal man known as Grayson Ferris Unity, who is the prophesized child, asked about this cosmic alliance, when will exactly happen. The Light Druids exactly told him that it'll happen very sooner now, and it'll take place very quietly, likely sooner than ever before, and that if the cosmic alliance begins to taking place, it'll exactly give infinite dark power, greater dark power than ever before, and it'll only power up one powerful indestructible being that's capable of taking and also controlling that much dark power, and that much dark infinite dark power, and that much dark infinite dark power and dark energy in the process. If they don't even have the power or the strength to usually control this infinite dark power and dark energy, they'll be corrupted by it. As Grayson began to understand the real depths and the real consequence of this infinite power being literally landed to the wrong hands, to the literal most powerful, devastating, wrong, evil forces of minds and hands, they could unleash total chaos and eradicate the entire supernatural aliens and superhumans and four-nation hunters of the sacred world with one fell swoop of a matter of time. Realizing that this would pose a threat to everything, Universal Man exactly asked the Light Druids, when will the Cosmic Alliance actually take place? The Light Druids exactly told Grace and Fairies that the Cosmic Alliance would gladly take place in the later stages within the following years that are actually coming through, and it will soon gladly take an effect rather sooner than later by now. On the actual day on the 20th of November, the Light Druids exactly traveled throughout the sacred magic universe in order to see if the forces of evil are highly planning any of the sinister attacks on the other magical schools and colleges or kingdoms that they're willing to conquer and place them under their sole control. But nothing happened since that time. And also, nothing ever happened within December as well, as the light druids remained living among the other magical creatures and beings, as among the other magical creatures and warlocks and powerful fairies and formidable elves and pixies and mixes and all of that. They still able to live amongst them and still continue to do so as well. On the actual 26th of January, the light druids were quietly in the magical village where elves and wizards lived completely in peace, full of beautiful crystals and full of beautiful ancient magical crystals and beautiful things of their kind, living in peace and also meditating in peace altogether as well. But all of that changed until a group of rogue, evil, dark witches began attacking in order to harness the power of the dark crystals, and the light magic users and the elves and the wizards were forced to take action before the situation got any worse or any further than that. Which, thanks to their intervenence and thanks to their heroic works, they were able to exactly remain victorious and able to vanquish the great dark force of evil in the actual effect, and they were able to exactly vanquish the force of evil as the dark witches were forced to retreat from the actual attack, and they actually disappeared as well. On the actual 19th of February, the light druids met up with the older and previous consulars of the light druids within the light druids home world of the kingdom, which was quietly within the center of the sacred magic universe, where they were able to exactly speak with them, telling the council that the situation has quietly gotten far worse than it already has during the ancient times, and that the forces of evil are quietly rising and ascending in power completely, meaning that they literally creating total chaos and total destruction upon their wake. The counselors of the light druids began to agree with the new generation of the light druids and decided to help them gain new powers and new faster abilities to adapt to the challenges and to the obstacles that they are completely facing up against as well. On the actual 29 of March, a group of powerful dark magic users known as the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches and the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches and the Dark Faithful began exactly arriving on the central headquarters of the Light Druids' home world and planet in order to create friction among their own people, telling their people to join forces with them in order to specifically side with them as well. This exactly created friction among the light magic users with the dark druids and with the dark druids and with the light druids as well, in the process which the other magic users began to join forces with the light druids and the others began to siding with the dark magic users. The other dark druids, the leader of the dark druids warned the light druids to exactly stand in their way or to either fighting against them. Otherwise, they'll be forced to suffer a heavy, devastating consequences if those of them don't join forces with them. The light druids exactly still stood at their words, as they exactly told the dark druids that they'll be allies of the intergalactic coalition and they'll remain allies of the Phoenician hunters and of the universal heroes and of the other sacred superheroes as well in the actual process. Despite this, the dark force of evil disappeared from the magical planet and disappeared from the magical planet of its kingdom and actually were never seen again. On the actual 29th of April, the light druids exactly held up a meeting with the elders of their own people, such as the headmistress and the kings and queens of the other magical kingdoms within an underground magical cave where they all exactly spoke. Some of them were actually in magical holograms and the others of them were actually presently exactly there, where they all exactly spoke about the situations of the worlds and planets of their respective worlds and planets and what's exactly happening throughout the sacred universe and throughout planet Earth and throughout the rest of humanity, that the forces of evil are seriously literally attacking in a very different pattern and are also literally doing things in a very different way than they actually did in the last time. All the other kings and queens and all the other headmistress of the other magical schools and all the other headmistress of the other magical schools and witches began to agree that the forces of evil are exactly doing things in a different way than they actually did, and they managed to form powerful, formidable alliances with greater sinister forces of evil. And the other magic users began to agree that they must take action before the situation can spiral out of control, as they all came to agree on that on the actual on the actual 14th of May, the light druids were quietly there within or quietly actually present throughout the magical cave of light, where they actually secretly began practicing their light magic powers and the abilities, and actually practicing their light magical powers and the abilities in the actual process in order to harness light magic's powers and its abilities in its full highest rate, so that they can become more powerful and more gratefully invincible as well. Doing so at the time, they began to study the ancient magical statues of the light sister witch, and of the origin guardian, and of the guardian of light, and of the goddess of light, and of the witch of power, and of the witch of power, and of the original lord of magic, and of the powerful and of the great powerful dark elf, and of the dark wizards as well within those statues, as they began to understand the full scope of sacred histories of the sacred magic universe's histories, and all of its power source, and all of its power source, and all of its ancient excuse me, and all of its ancient power source, and all of its ancient power source, and its greater wars that quietly rained down, as well as they began to fully study it and learn through it all, as they began to learn that all these events and wars have been manipulated by powerful, dangerous forces of evil who are very clever and very 12th level intellect and very much intelligence, and that they are shadowy forces of evil that are highly conspiring, secretly conspiring with other ancient, sinister, evil organizations of super criminals and super villains, and also giving them more power and more infinite knowledge than ever before as well. On the on the actual on the actual 20 on the 20th of May, the leader of the light druids decided to confront Witchcaster on her home on her central headquarters, which he exactly went there, teleported himself completely, and exactly told Witchcaster who did she able to form a very powerful secret alliance with. Witchcaster exactly told the light druid that she's at her most powerful, and that she's searching for a hidden ancient weapon that could grant her more power and more greater power than ever before, and that she will find it and harness its power for herself and for her followers, and that nothing will stop her from conquering the entire sacred magical world and the entire sacred magic dimension in the process, and that nothing will stop her and her followers from wreaking havoc, literally uncontrolled, powerful havoc than ever before. The light druid began to believe Witchcaster in her word as well. On the 26th of June, the light druid exactly began to meet up with its people on the crystal light temple within the sacred magic, within the sacred magic universe, within the sacred magic universe's forest, where they all exactly began to meet and discuss the next best possible solution to saving the sacred magic universe and all of its reality before it's completely destroyed in the actual process. Despite this, they all exactly agree that they have to take a very directive action and a directive approach before the situation completely spells out, spells out of control completely, as they all exactly agree that they must take a very decisive action before it's completely too late. The light magic users exactly agree that that is exactly the worthy choice and the worthy decision for them to actually proceed with the next directive approach, in order for them to help the universal heroes and the universal magic heroes and the universal magic girl and universal magic girl with a primary mission and the objective to restoring peace and balance and harmony towards the sacred universe and towards the sacred world and towards the sacred magic universe, as they all began to agree that they must take an effective action and a very different approach at this matter as well. On the 29th of July, the light druids were quietly present within the other magical worlds, as they saved it from being attacked from the dark magic users known as the dark druids and the dark witches and the dark faithful, as they literally prevented the attack from going any further and saved the other magical aliens and magical creatures in the process, which thanks to their heroic actions and to their intervention, the dark magic users weren't able to get anything or achieve a common objective or the interest to obtaining any weapons or any relics or any magical resources that they were actually after. But due to this, they were forced to retreat. Regardless of that, exactly, the light magic users known as the light druids exactly saved the other aliens, and the other aliens began to believe in them, said to them that they are the worthy heroes, and they exactly told them that they remain allies of the Intergalactic Coalition and of the Universal Heroes. Regardless of that, the Light Druids were very happy as they told the other aliens that it's time for them to band together and to work together to save the sacred magic universe and the sacred world before it's completely, utterly destroyed by the forces of evil. On the 14th of August, the Light Druids all exactly convened within the light crystal temple that is quietly within the sacred magic universe's jungles and forests, where they were able to exactly meet up for their final meeting in order to tell them that their heroics actually did good work, but it's time for them to actually restore life to many dead worlds and to many dead planets, and to make sure that fairies and wizards and warlocks and druids and elves are respected and well known for their good work, despite the others of their kind who have managed to turn to the dark side for dark powers and for dark magical powers and ability, which they must completely stop them. The other druids exactly told the leader of their people is that the road that they want to take to fighting up against their own people. The leader of the actual light druids exactly told his people that they are completely already at war with their own people, such as the dark druids, the dark witches, and the dark faithful, and the 4 nation hunters are completely at war up against the most strongest and most formidable, monstrous foes and deadliest threats that they've never ever seen. That come from the sacred world, and some come from the sacred universe, and others of them come from within humanity. They're really fighting too much forces of evil from both sides and are being attacked from all the sides. They need more help and they need more resources. The other light druids were very quietly skeptical as they decided to all stand together to fight up against the strongest and most worthiest forces of evil, and up against their foes and up against their deadliest adversaries, as they realize that the war is not going to be an easy war or an easy battle, but they're going to do it. They're going to give it a try in order to save humanity and the sacred magic universe before it's completely destroyed in the actual process as well. Despite this, guys, the light druids are completely, extremely immortal, very, very powerful with their light magical powers, and with their light magical powers and the abilities being granted to them to restore life to many dead worlds, and to many dead magical worlds and planets in the actual process, and they easily use their powers for the greater good. They easily use their powers for the actual greater good rather than not for the actual greater evil, despite that they're very quietly good and very quietly crafty with dark magic, with dark magic known as in other words as witchcraft or other the dark arts. They're very quietly good with the powers of dark magic and with the abilities as well. And some of them are very quietly gifted with light magic and with light energy as well in the actual process, which makes them extremely immortal and very powerful light magic users. The light druids exactly are still able to fight up against their own kind, known as the dark druids and the dark witches and the dark faithful and the dark warlocks and the dark elves and the dark wizards and the dark sisters, who are the most powerful ancient dark witches ever existed. And they know that their own very people are willing to defect to join the sides of greater good, or to join the side of greater evil, or from the side of greater from the side of the greater dark, from the dark side as well. Despite this, the light druids are very completely gifted and very completely resourceful magical users who have many beautiful magical worlds, and beautiful planets throughout the entire sacred magic universe, and throughout the entire sacred magic dimension, especially within the sacred world as well. Some of them actually live and coexist within planet Earth, within humanity in secrecy, where they actually coexist with vampires and werewolves and witches and warlocks and druids and all of that. But despite that, they are very good, loving species, very gratefully gifted with light magic, such as the power of convergence, the power of opening portals, the power of teleportation, the power of great knowledge, and the power of great super strategist and tactician, and the power of mind control, and the power of reading minds, the power of levitation, the power of flight, the power of super speed, the power of long gravity, and the power of using light energy and shadow energy and converting it into light energy, and the power of great purification, which they can purify the dark energy of shadow energy and of the dark energy of shadow energy and of dark magic in a process. They can undo the damage done by the dark magic users, such as the dark seekers and the dark winds and lord and the original lord of magic and amber, the goddess of power and witchcaster, and the other dark druids and the other dark druids and dark witches and dark faithful. They can undo the entire damage of the dark magic users who began to inflict their dark powers and their dark aura upon the other magical worlds and planets through within the process as well. They are very gifted with light magic and its powers and its powers and its powers and its greater properties, and they're very quietly heavily skilled with super healing, which they can heal, and they bear the power of telekinesis and the power of telepathic communication, and they also have the power and the ability granted by them to create powerful astral projections of themselves, which are very in a light form, which are very used in a very light form for them to actually convene and speak with their allies in a very much different base of location. They are very quietly good in maintaining their basis of the location due to the centuries of them living inside the sacred magic universe and within the entire sacred magic dimension. They're able to protect and maintain their central headquarters, which is a very beautiful crystal light temple that's quietly within the entire sacred magic universe, which they're able to exactly use it as a base of operation and as a central headquarters for them to convene and meet to discuss their plan. Their home worlds and planets is a very beautiful home world and planet, which is quietly ruled by the original magic users of the light druid consoles, which are old man and old woman druids who are very skilled in light magic and its powers and its properties and its very unique abilities. They provide wisdom and they provide support to the great military artists of the druids of the light druids magical powers and the abilities and the exception as well, and offer advices to the Four-Nation Hunters and to the Intergalactic Coalition and to the Universal Heroes as well. The light druids have decided to become rather good allies to the Universal Heroes, and they are very ancient magical beings. They are ancient markings and paintings about their history with the other forces of evil, such as the King of Darkness, which they quite very well that he's a powerful, dark, ancient deity of a king who is rumored to be the legendary, most powerful dark force of evil throughout sacred magic history, who has brought nothing but utter darkness and damnation to the entire sacred enchanted forest. The light druids are well aware that the King of Darkness still is actively alive, and he's very knowledgeable about every magical creature. The light druids are very skilled with every knowledgeable history of sacred magical creatures and powerful magical creatures and beings that can easily amplify powerful magical users and very great or strong dark magical users and very great or strong powerful sinister beings with their powers and with their abilities, and they've decided to keep these ancient magical creatures and beings literally a secret, because they knew that during the ancient times, the King of Darkness and the original Lord of Magic and Amber, the goddess of power, the witch of power, they were literally obsessed in hunting these beings and these creatures down in order to gain ultimate forbidden power for their own, in order to literally adapt and evolve their abilities in the actual process so they can remain powerful beings and stronger beings. But due to this and literally unknowns to them, the Four-Nation Hunters and the Light Druids concealed and protected the secret knowledge about the magical creatures' whereabouts and where these creatures might exactly be hidden, and also where they can actually be protected in the actual process. Due to this, the great light druids are very sole believer in the great saviors and in the greater prophecies of the sacred worlds that have been bestowed to the sacred dark magical worlds that are quietly foretold about an ancient powerful dark savior who would exactly return to thrust the entire sacred world into utter chaos, or a very powerful good savior, or pure energy, or pure energy, and a pure light energy, or pure light energy, and a pure power of origin power, who would save the entire sacred universe from total destruction, which the two saviors will be locked in battle against for the entire sacred universe, which creates more forces of evil and more deadly threats than ever before due to their confrontation, waging war against each other. And they are also familiar with the ancient history of the sacred Omega founders, who exactly founded the prophecy and the ancient ways of the prophecy that exactly predicts the cosmic alliance during its ancient times. They are very skeptical, optimistic magic users, very extremely immortal, resilient, persistent, and very loving and very kind and very compassionate with their mission and with their goal. And they've decided to become allies of the universal heroes and of the intergalactic coalition to saving their worlds and their home planets before they're completely destroyed. They have greater dark, formidable enemies and sinister adversaries and foes, such as the Dark Druids, the Dark Witches, the Dark Faithful, the members of the Order of the Five, Witchcaster, and Amber, the goddess of power, the Witch of Power, and also the goddess of death and the goddess of destruction, and also the Dark Seekers and the Winds, who are the most powerful, formidable dark magic users, the ones that I actually taught you about yesterday on the previous episode. They are very well hell-bent to destroying the forces of evil's plans before they successfully bear fruit for universal domination, or for world domination, or for sacred domination, or for sacred control, or for sacred disorder, or for sacred disbalance, or for disharmony, or to either prevent the chaos, or to either prevent the chaos or the new force of evil from rising within the sacred universe's wars. They are very determined, skillful in teleportation, light magic, convergence, astral projection, mind controlling. They know all the sacred histories, knowledge, forbidden magical techniques and secretive techniques of magic, and the ways to amplify their powers and the ways to amplify their light magic powers and their abilities by powerful ancient magical creatures and beings who have lived throughout the entire sacred magic universe's history. Very well loyal and very well trusted allies as well. Unlike the other kind of their species, unlike the other kind of their brethren, such as the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches and the Dark Faithful, they are not like them, but some of them can easily defect to join the dark side of the sacred, to join the dark side of the bad guys, or to either join the good side of the good guys to join forces with them. They are the respected allies of the universal heroes and of the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters. Very well crafty with light magic and also with dark magic and with the dark arts of dark magic as well. Very skillful with that as well, and very quietly good with using their powers for the greater good than not for the greater evil. But as I told you before, there are others of them who could defect into becoming dark druids or dark warlocks, which has been happening throughout the following centuries. According to the Four Nation Hunters history, magic users have a choice to become bad or evil, or to either use negative power magic or positive magic for the greater good or for the greater evil. And some of them can adapt and evolve. And due to the longevity, they believe that they are destined to remain the sole rulers of the sacred magic universe, while others seek any means necessary to power themselves up and to amplify themselves up. There are literally millions, thousands of them, of the light druids within the sacred magic universe, who live and coexist with fairies, witches, druids, warlocks, elves, and powerful pixies and great Four Nation hunters and witch hunters within the entire sacred magic universe across its worlds, planets, kingdoms, and colleges. They all live together and coexist together, and also with aliens, supernaturals, and superhumans as well. They all live together, and they are one big supernatural community as well. But due to the rift that was quietly created, due to the rift and the friction that was quietly created by the original Lord of Magic, who was able to create the rift among the creatures, among the supernatural creatures and beings, they all exactly began to despise each other rather than to actually love each other now. And this is why the Four Nation Hunters are so eager with the working with the universal heroes to repair the friction and also to restore the peace and harmony that once existed with the other magical creatures. But regardless of that, guys, the light druids or the good guys. But as I said before, they can all choose to become bad guys or good guys due to the powers of their magic being drawn from dark magic and from light magic, which they can easily do that. And they also been granted the extraordinary ability to infuse themselves with shadow energy and with light magic, which they can probably exactly do that. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I'm very quietly sorry for all the noise and everything else that you couldn't exactly precisely hear me. Wasn't exactly part of the plan, but I exactly told you guys that there'll be noise. But regardless of that, guys, I exactly remain persistent and also remain persistent to continue to tell you and remain resilient to continue to tell you exactly what was going on about the light druids, and I still continue to do so. I will exactly see you tomorrow on Friday at a different time after I've done walking universe on after I'm done walking my dog universe on Friday, which is tomorrow, and doing the laundry as well, which is tomorrow as well. But regardless of that, guys, I'm so grateful for your support from watching my videos and episodes from shorts, long videos, and from TikTok and from all sizes. Truly grateful for your guys' support. Love you all and take care and have a blessed day and have a great day. Truly grateful for your guys' support. Keep doing so. For those of you who are actually watching YouTube on who are actually watching the long videos on YouTube, I won't be able to upload the YouTube video, the long YouTube video on Friday. I'll able to upload it on Monday. You'll receive it on Monday. But for those of you who are actually watching TikTok and Shorts, you receive the Shorts video on Friday, and you will receive the TikTok video on Friday as well. Just to exactly inform you. But regardless of that, guys, have a blessed day and have a wonderful day. Take care and may God bless you and may He protect you. Love you all and have a wonderful day. Bye. Bye. Bye.